Bad news for Biden. Economist calls out the president. U.S. secrets exposed. So Russia ends Ukraine deal after Crimea bridge attack, leading to a major food blockage in the Black Sea region. 3 whistleblowers are now set to testify on the UFOs and their alleged cover-up. IRS whistleblowers testify at House hearing on Biden family receiving large sums of illegal foreign money, totaling close to $17 million in the investigation. Chuck Grassley reveals alleged recordings of Biden with foreign nationals who allegedly bribed him. Now, it was revealed that Chuck Grassley collaborated with whistleblowers from the Department of Justice to secure a document, Form FD 1023, prepared by an FBI informant. Now, this document, it contained damning allegations against the Biden family, and it indicated that their involvement in receiving bribe money, particularly from the Ukrainian company Burisma, which had ties to the oil industry. Do you guys feel as if we're at a point where our cash flow is stronger than ever? I mean, seriously, like, do you feel that most people are no longer waiting on EBT food stamps or SNAP benefits because, people just don't need SNAP anymore? Is that the situation across the board for all Americans? Is it that we as Americans are now back to feeling the same financial freedom that we once enjoyed a few years ago? Well, if you said yes, then congratulations. All of that is thanks to Bidenomics. Now, if you said no, well, sorry to hear that, and all of that is, again, thanks to Bidenomics. Economic experts are calling out the president for boasting about the success of his economic plan while taking all the credit for inflation going down as well as for unemployment. Now, Forbes media chairman Steve Forbes, he said recently that he's amazed at the president, not because he's doing what he says, but that most of what he says hasn't actually come true, even asking what kind of world the president lives in, as it sure doesn't sound like the United States. Steve Forbes also added that the victims of Bidenomics has been mostly middle-class Americans, saying that the cost remains sky high even though inflation has gone down. Do you guys agree with this notion? And just to go ahead and twist the knife just a little bit more on the middle class, the next topic is still part of Bidenomics, and it's a new regulatory proposal from the current administration that targets water heaters. Now, this comes at a time where many of the appliances that we have at home seem to be under constant scrutiny and attack. So the Department of Energy said that the proposal would push more Americans to use electric alternatives, and it would also save us billions of dollars per year together with the reduced carbon emissions. Are you guys ready to spend more money to buy those electric water heaters? Because if this proposal goes through, the cheaper, less energy efficient water heaters that we were used to, they may be taken off the market altogether. Now, this new proposal comes after these past months when the DOE has targeted gas stoves, refrigerators, clothes washers, even air conditioners. How do you guys feel about all this? Does it feel like we're now being given less of a choice nowadays? Like we're getting squeezed out? And since our economy is kind of in a weird shape, whoever wins the White House next year has their work cut out for them. But are we about to see a few late bids for the 2024 presidential elections? What do you guys think of these names? Former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. How about Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin? Or how about West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin? These 3 names are now being discussed as possible late entries into a presidential race that many predict will be a rematch of former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. Now, some polls suggest that many Americans are just tired of both presidents and they want to see some new nominees take charge, something that the political organization called No Labels wants to take advantage of. Now, if it were up to them, they would basically just choose a centrist ticket made of one Democrat and one Republican. Now, some Democrats are wary of the plan, though, as they believe that this will for sure hand the White House right back over to Trump. Would any of you guys want Trump back in the Oval Office? Now, if you ask Senator Joe Manchin, he would prefer a government with political parties that aren't so extreme. He was recently on a radio show where he said that this isn't the same America that he knew and that our country is not meant to be divided. But who's really to blame for this division? According to Manchin, it will be both the extreme left and the extreme right, as they've pushed with those common sense. Again, this is Manchin talking here, not me. So these people with common sense are left politically homeless. So he's basically saying that he has common sense and those who are on both extremes don't. Sounds like a push to run for president, right? So Manchin was also at a New Hampshire event for No Labels where he debunked any ideas for him running for president. However, he did say that he was there to save the nation. Do you guys think that this is a sign that he really is running? Now, from one probable presidential candidate to one who's actually running, former Vice President Mike Pence, he made it very clear that he is not interested in trading insults with his former boss, Donald Trump. He even referred to him as an old friend and said that insults aren't the way to win the White House. It's up to the American people to decide that. We all know that that love-hate relationship between these two have run for some time. So, it's going to be interesting just to see what happens if they ever do end up in a debate together. And on that note, first son Hunter Biden was together with his lawyer Kevin Morris recently, where photos of his lawyer coming out of his home where he seems to be smoking marijuana have just been released. Now, just to clear this up, this happened in California and the use of marijuana for recreational use is legal over there. Now, no one's real sure why Hunter was here, although for this to happen on the same day doesn't necessarily kind of help water down rumors of the recent drug find in the White House belonging to the first son. Now, we're not going to stray too far away from the topic, as Biden's family, they may have a few more problems if you ask House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer, as according to him, they've now received even more bank records that show transactions from, are you guys ready for this? Transactions from both the Ukraine and from Russia. Wow. I mean, what do you guys think of that? And again, I'm just basing this off of Comer's words that the president has been selling policies and access to enemies, so don't shoot the messenger. I'm just, sharing the information with you guys. However, some critics say that there's no way that President Biden could afford a lakeside mansion in Wilmington, Delaware, a vacation in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and a vintage 1967 Corvette on his salary of $150,000 a year as a senator and $225,000 a year as VP. So how do you guys think that they got these properties? It's all probably a secret, or who knows, right? Maybe he's a genius with his money. By the way, if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below of this video. Now, moving on with secrets that are soon to be exposed, 3 whistleblowers have been unveiled by the House Oversight Committee to testify regarding UFOs and the cover-ups that may have happened behind the scenes. The witnesses, namely Ryan Graves, David Favor, and of course, David Grush, they are now willing to share how the Pentagon covered up proof of the alien life with Representative Tim Burchett, saying that the American public deserves to know what's really going on behind closed doors.
Jeremy obtained and released the videos that put into motion the first congressional hearings on UFOs in more than 50 years. Those happened just last year in 2022. Jeremy, you helped organize some of the witnesses for this hearing next week. You say it will be historic. Why?
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's going to be historic because there's never been a hearing like this from firsthand direct eyewitnesses, as well as, people that have been involved with uncovering the obfuscation that's occurred. So hearing from people directly who have engaged UFOs for the United States military is unlike anything we've had before. Before, it was bureaucratic suits who are obfuscating for their own reasons. This is different. This is historic.
They're also telling us that we're not going to be disappointed with the testimonies, alluding to the possibility that the United States actually has proof of aliens existing. Wouldn't that be crazy though? And just to go ahead and wrap things up with a little bit more crazy here, North Korea just fired cruise missiles to their western sea, just days after they fired 2 short-range missiles to their eastern sea, which also comes a day after the United States docked a nuclear-armed submarine in South Korea. Wow. They've also already threatened us about this docking, which they call a reckless military move. And according to their defense minister, this makes the mission of their own nuclear weapons that much clearer.
North Korea fired several cruise missiles early Saturday morning towards the sea west of the Korean peninsula. That's according to the South Korean military. They say they detected the projectiles around 4 a.m. local time. It's Pyongyang's second missile launch this week since the arrival of a US nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarine to South Korea, and it comes as tensions soar on the Korean peninsula. On Wednesday, North Korea fired 2 ballistic missiles, according to Japanese and South Korean militaries, just after the US submarine docked in Busan. It's been decades since a US nuclear-armed submarine visited South Korea, and it coincided with Allied discussions on a nuclear response in event of a war with the North. On Thursday, North Korea warned that the deployment of US aircraft carriers, bombers, or missile submarines in South Korea could be grounds for a nuclear attack.
But what do you guys think will happen next here? Make sure you share your thoughts in the comment section down below. And before I go, guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all the support, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next video.